What's up everybody, it's Eli here from TreeFall Studios. If you don't know this, I quit my full-time job to become a full-time indie game developer. My friends and family were all like,
"Dude, what are you doing?"
And I'm just like, with that context being said, we're going to be taking a look at the Perplexing Orb, which is a game I just launched on the PS4, and we're going to be taking a look at some different factors in determining whether it was a success or a failure. With that said, let's get started. Success can be determined by you by many different ways. You can talk about financial success, critical success, fan success, success to you if you feel like you did it the best you could do. But for this video, we're going to be taking a look at financial success and also fan reception. We'll start with fan reception. So this will be quick and brief, but I just want to mention briefly that I personally think the game is a success on the fan front because for the people that have played it, compared to when we originally launched the game on the Wii U a few years ago, we've got nothing but good comments so far. We got good comments on Twitter, on our social media, on YouTube. So let's get to the big meat of the issue. Everybody loves to look at people's finances, numbers, all that type of thing. Since this is not a PC game, I'm going to go ahead and warn you early on in the video that I'm not going to be sharing specific financial sales numbers because this is a PlayStation 4 game, and all companies have different types of criteria on what you can and can't share. But just to be safe, I'm just going to go through different percentages, facts, and figures with you to show you whether or not this game was a success or a failure. So for this video, we're going to be analyzing the sales of PitterPot versus the Perplexing Orb. PitterPot launched about 1 year earlier than the Perplexing Orb, but both titles launched on the PlayStation 4 only that we're going to be comparing to, and both of them were launched in the North American PlayStation stores only. So we're going to be comparing launch week numbers, the rest of the month numbers, and then the total month numbers. So launch week is the most important week. That's what everyone says, the very launch window of your game, that you're going to make all of your money in that first little bit, and then after that you're pretty much done, except for randomly when you have sales and whatnot. You might be able to get a boost of units here and there. For the most part, that is what I've seen with my games, and for the friends that I have that are game developers, I've seen the same thing similar with them as well. Similarly. Also for context, PitterPot cost $9.99 on the PlayStation Store, while the Perplexing Orb cost $5.99. So week 1, the PitterPot versus the Perplexing Orb sold 72% more than PitterPot did in terms of units. Here's the really interesting thing. So PitterPot on weeks 2, 3, and 4, the rest of month 1, sold only about 1/4 of what it did in week 1. So it takes 3 weeks to make about 25% of what I sold in week 1. That is pretty bad. For the Perplexing Orb, however, it sold about 25% more than it did in week 1 in weeks 2, 3, and 4. However, keep in mind that still shows the trend that the launch week is like the most important week, because it still took 3 weeks to just break over what it made in 1 week. So the real cool kicker here is if you want to compare PitterPot month 1 versus Perplexing Orb month 1, the Perplexing Orb, in the total sales for both games, the Perplexing Orb outsold PitterPot by 204.88%. With that being said, I do consider the Perplexing Orb to be a financial success, especially in comparison to PitterPot. If you found this video at all interesting, smash that like button. And it would be super helpful if you subscribed if you hadn't already. Share this video with a friend who might be interested into learning about indie game development. I know we couldn't specifically share exact sales numbers and figures, but for our audience, I hope that it's interesting that you can see how the game sold compared to each other, and how they sold over the course of 1 week, the rest of the month, and then the comparison of 1 month to 1 month. If you guys like this type of video and you want to see more, let me know in the comments down below if you want to see a video on a specific game, like The Letter, for instance. But with that being said, we need to give a big shout out to our patrons. Thanks so much for supporting us on Patreon. We need to give a personal shout out to LV Cato, Carmen Red, and Logan Lentine. Thanks so much for your support on Patreon. We couldn't do what we do without you. Stay tuned for videos on Annihilation and Maze for PlayStation 4. Both of those games are coming out soon. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, share it if you feel kind,